Thank you. Good evening. It's 6 p.m. We'll get the Templeton. Thank you. Good evening. It's 6 p.m. We'll get the Templeton EDIC meeting rolling. Thanks, Hannah, for starting the recording. We're going to stand up and do the pledge. Liz, would you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Liz. Thank you all. Item number 1, review minutes from 9/25/23. Does anybody want to review, make additional corrections, anything?
No, but I would make a motion to accept the minutes from September 25th, 2023.
Motion taken. Is there a second? Liz is going to second. Any discussion on the motion to accept the minutes of 9/25/23? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Liz and Steve.
Aye.
And Steve and Liz. That's okay. I'm going to start going down from left to right tonight. I usually start with something. Don't go wrong. But you're going to be the first for the rules.
See,
Yes.
clearly
So-
choosing the better looking side of the table.
We have a very, very good mutual admiration society. Without further ado, item 2. Items 2 and 3, I believe, are going to be led by Steve. Can I just turn 2 and 3 over in that order to you, Steve, and have you lead the discussion? Fair enough?
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
RFQ, RFP. So we have a draft. I think per some of our comments, the underlined areas are things that you may want to fill in the blank or fill in the blanks or change. And Adam helped me, our town administrator helped me with some of the bureaucratic language at the end, which was really just kind of copied and pasted from PCTV and Montechusett TV's own RFP that we have out. And it's largely the same. So obviously the issue date, we can change the questions to, if you, I can field the questions if you want someone else to. I am glad to defer that. I put a budget of 50,000 with bundled services. I know we talked about 30, and I just think that with 50, you would get more of a breadth of services to choose from. You obviously don't have to take 50. So, and that's entirely the board's choice. With that, the entities to be served, I put the Templeton EDIC. EDIC will be the primary recipient of digital marketing services provided. Others are listed in order of secondary priority. I don't know if that's the right wording, but the other 3 entities have secondary priority. So in other words, Templeton EDIC needs the works in digital marketing, and all the other dogs have a little bit of mustard on. You can understand that metaphor. And again, I would say I think the bulk of what I would look for out of this would be mostly electronic newsletters, especially for EDIC. And the other ones can be decided on. And as I said, Montechusett TV, TCTV were already somewhat down the road with social media as well. And then at the end, we put in the process and the evaluation criteria and all of the kind of boilerplate stuff. We could change some of the selection process and evaluation criteria if you feel suited, if you feel that that is suited. And at the end, you will see that we make no express or implied representations. We reserve the right to seek any additional information. We don't have to take any quotes if we don't want them. And this is all directly copied from our own RFP, except I changed the town to EDIC. As our town administrator says, you know, we're kind of quasi-independent, so I think we can kind of do our own thing, I guess.
And I raised 4 points of questions.
Yes.
1, where's the sentence about reject any and all project? What's that? I'm looking for it. I'm not seeing it. It's on me.
Number 5.
Number 5 on the last page.
EDIC reserves the right to reject.
Yeah, thank you, Liz.
Yeah.
And I just
Yep.
want to raise the concern that
I want to make sure that the money that was for the grant for EDIC work is not going to be contra. I don't want to see us mixing monies in responsibility, because I understand the Templeton EDIC, right? I want to make sure that any money that is spent on digital lab, Montechusett TV, TCTV is still in alignment and falls under the EDIC monies being spent. I don't
Yeah,
have any concerns.
That's a fair point. The 50,000, is that all intended to come out of a $200,000 grant? Or is there a cost share with the town of Templeton? Please just remind me, so I'm sorry, I forgot.
There's no cost share that I know of.
The 50,000,
So
so am I misunderstanding? Are we paying somebody 50,000 to do delivery services or?
that's up to that,
Oh, but okay, what's the source of funds for the 50 grand?
200.
The 200,000, that's what I'm saying. So if we do this, we just have to, because we have a budget, 200,000 to do a variety of things, legal and marketing and site planning and some other stuff.
And you don't have to do any of it.
But my only, I'm not even a concern, my only issue is that if we do this for 50, we're gonna have to adjust the earmark budget, that's all.
Yeah.
And if we adjust this down to 25, we still have to do, some adjusting, or 50 or 100, whatever this amount is, we gotta do some adjustments, I'm not concerned about that as much. Yes, good point, Liz is valid about making sure EDIC is.
I have no problem in writing language in there to that effect,
Just cost share, because
but I understand your concern.
Another,
I think it makes sense to be all together, but yeah, from a
Mhm.
money perspective, we need
Yeah.
to make sure we keep it straight.
Yeah, and I do remember a comment that you made at the last meeting, Steve, about all of these are economic development related. I do recall that. And so I remember agreeing. So, okay. The other issue I need to put on the table is that it didn't occur to me because after our last meeting, then Templeton issued 2 RFPs to which the WBI is responding. So I'm writing one of those RFPs where my WBI. So if I have a conflict, in other words, if what you're asking for over there in those other RFPs, if there's a conflict with what I'm doing for the WBI and I have a conflict, then I'm gonna recuse myself and you folks have to deal with this and I'm gonna leave the table. That's that's to me those. So if I have a conflict of interest, so do I have a conflict because I'm writing? Okay, because you know the scopes, but you wrote them. I just make sure, I've identified the issue, the potential. If you're saying that there isn't a conflict between those scopes and the WBI reporting, and I don't have a conflict, I find if I do, I can sit in the audience.
From what I understand, you're applying to an RFP for the digital lab partnership.
Yes, yeah, you have 2 RFPs, like Magnus is
Which
writing
doesn't
one.
include any digital marketing.
Right, there's no marketing on this. It's about managing of assets, management of assets. Okay. Okay, but if I didn't say it, I'm not doing my job as a local official, I'm not bringing it
I
to the table,
understand.
so, okay, all right, very good. So that's the 50,000 in this fund. So 50,000 is under the 200, I don't have a conflict apparently. I saw in the best interest, and the only other issue is that I think it's a minor thing on the 3rd page, which uses points to review proposals. You can't do that according to 30B in the state procurement statute. You have to use a preponderance of check marks. If you use 5 check marks or 1 check mark or 2 or 3, you can't use numbers. So that's stated in the law and it's stated in 30B. I'm sorry, I'm just a boring bureaucrat in the room.
No,
that
Please continue
that
doing
brings
that.
this stuff to the table. That's all. It's a minor
How
issue.
can we change that?
So basically what you do is I'll give you language that says, you can, when we're reviewing these proposals that come in under 30B, you just can't use numbers. And what you do is I literally use a check mark. And if you think it has, a most responsive, you can use 5 check marks or 5 hashtags. You have to use symbols, not numeral. Now, I didn't write the state statute for this procurement. I don't know where it came from. My point is, they just have to use the preponderance of check marks is the weight of the check marks is how you get. It's semantics, really, if you read the statute, because it's like, well, what's the difference between hashtags and check marks and numbers? Honestly, folks, not a lot. But literally, then what we do is the 4 of us would, and let's say we have a 5th person. Let's say that 5 people score these and we have 3 proposals and 1 proposal has on all of us, you do a composite. You take all of these tables and let's say the first proposal has like 1 check mark for all of us, all right? Then you hold it up and you say, how's this proposal rate? Well, it rates pretty low. And then let's say the other proposal B has check marks in the middle range. We say, well, it's kind of the middle range. We don't say there's a proposal that has check marks all over the place. It's kind of- That's the preponderance of the weight of the preponderance of check marks or the weight of the data reveals that that's the third highest best proposal. So that's all it is. I've got a couple sentences I can send you. It's minor stuff to eliminate the numerical value and be in compliance with it.
Okay.
I can send that to you. That's not a problem. I've written them for too many years that I'm not willing to admit in a public meeting and so I'm happy to send you that language. So
Please do.
send check marks. I don't know what it means.
So one other question, because some of this stuff would also fall under the town of Templeton type items. How are we going to differentiate? This is an EDIC bill versus this is a town of Templeton bill.
Mhm.
And I would prefer to know that up front, so that way there's no, well, I thought it should be this and I thought it should be that.
That's a good question. Now's the time to write that stuff in. Like,
Yes.
you know, yeah.
How do we do this? Again, no mixing of funds.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, Lori,
Yes,
please.
Lori, please.
help. This is a roundtable.
We
Please
should
help.
probably handle it the same way we handle things like escrow accounts for, planning, and zoning,
Mhm.
whatever. And it's an account that's handled directly through development services where we keep track of and send the information to the state. Mr. Harrington, that's who we'll be dealing with.
Okay.
So,
He's our liaison at the
right,
EOHED, Executive
It-
Housing Economic Development.
yes. So it'd be a direct line to the accountant and to them.
Okay. And then anything, somehow keeping track of those things that are not, I mean, because a lot of this stuff, yes, is EDIC related. But somebody could make the argument, well, this is the town of Templeton related, and so it just,
So are you asking for like itemized bills?
well,
Everything should be approved by your board prior to being paid.
And writing a tight scope at the beginning
Yes.
that goes in the RFP.
Yeah.
That is the scope in the contract should resolve those issues at billing.
Yes.
Because this is the time to perform it.
Yeah.
So I'm.
I don't know what it should say, I just want to make sure I don't have a good recommendation, I just want to make sure we're straight.
Yeah, it's easier to write it now than struggle with it later.
Yeah.
You're likely to get a monthly bill.
Right.
Or quarterly bill.
So to Liz's question, how, you know, can we write this up in such a way so it's so tight that we won't have to deal with overlap or conflicts or whatever the word we want to use
Right.
later on. Now, I've heard the term used a couple times, cost sharing, but if the EDIC is paying for the dollar amount, right now it's 50,000. We're not sharing the cost with anybody else. We're the ones writing the checks. Right. Okay. Because I was told, I said, oh, I'm sharing does TCTV have a budget? We have a budget where. So I want to be clear for mainly Glenn's brain. It's EDIC paying it, which we stated before. Okay, great. Go ahead, please. Yes, sir. Shoot.
Steve, on the underlying stuff, questions to tctv@templetonma.gov. I think we should get an EDIC mailbox, an EDIC mailbox. I'm pretty sure that Holly can help out with that. She did say something at one point, she's not limited, but it does have a cost impact on how many email accounts that she has, but I think it would be negligible. It's like advisory has one, TCTV is a joint box or otherwise. That way, I think on the website right now, does it, when it lists us out, does it give the option to email us individually?
Sure.
That may be something that we consider. Having a joint mailbox, so sending it to EDIC, all four of us get it, or we set it up so anyone that we have access to that have.
Our staff. And
Yep.
our officers, yeah. Yeah, well, so.
The period of performance and the suggested budget. So term of services is 6 months to 1 year. Which one do you think to achieve what you've got in the RFP? Where do you think it would go? 6 months or 1 year?
I think some higher priced firms would give you a quote for 50,000 for 6 months, and others might give you a quote for 30,000 for a year.
Yeah, so I would
Or
not
vice
put
versa.
the top in there. I would put the RFP out based on what the deliverables that we want and see what we get back. We could put the period of performance is variable based on delivery schedule for the items that we're asking for. So, in my world, you have things called contract, deliverable lists, CDRs, basically saying, these are the things that you're actually paying for. We asked for them, and the vendor that you're getting the services from on a schedule has to give you these things, like a monthly report. Training, if we say that the training's required, any of those kind of things, those comes in as the deliverables. You've listed them out by who would consume them. I would just basically put those as those are the deliverables. So how do we define what the deliverable is? So much work on a website, a number of meetings, database management, all those things. I think we need to put some kind of metric on to be able to say what are the deliverables, because 50 is a lot, but you're right, it's going to be interpreted by different firms a different way. But if we say this is what we're looking for and have a period of performance that is variable to that, they may make an offer that allows us to understand what, limiting it to 6 months isn't not going to work based on the deliverables that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
metrics
like
are
that.
like following up with
Yep.
that. Consult on strategic marketing plan.
Right.
So we should say, give us an outline of a marketing plan or a draft or 25% draft. The next one, social media development strategy and execution. A draft of a plan. I mean, there is a lot
Yep.
here.
There is a lot, and that's going to
Yeah.
drive the cost up. The
Yeah.
more labor hours and,
Yeah.
and everything else they're going to have to devote to that. But my
Right.
next question is, so we've got Templeton EDIC. We are a corporation, legally created to be able to do what it is that we're talking about, and to enter into agreement. So you've got Wachusett Business Incubator. What legal status do they hold?
It's a corporate.
It's a
Yeah,
corporation.
it's a nonprofit. Right?
And
It's a private
okay.
nonprofit.
A five, okay, 501, got it. Montechusett.tv, what is their legal, how do they exist? Town Templeton owned?
Produced by TCTV.
Okay, would you call it an entity or a product or a program? Like, it's like,
Brand,
okay,
the product.
all right. And you're the PM for it, the program manager, okay. I would say Montechusett TV would be then nested under TCTV as a town entity. That way we're able to understand the legal, how are these things going to
You
be
say
pulled together?
identify the three entities. Okay,
Right.
As opposed.
And
yes.
based on their status, you then enter into a memorandum of agreement to work together. And this would be the vehicle by which you would get those things that we need. The MOA would define why they're all coming together. And then this RFP, the digital marketing services becomes the vehicle that gives you what that partnership is getting together to do. And that way we're able to kind of understand, and Liz, to your point, you understand who is doing what. That MOA basically defines what that relationship is, to say no monies will be expended for this, or we'll put it into an escrow account based on what the expected burn rate is going to be. So if it comes back, if we get 3 bids back, we choose a low one that's $25,000. They say, we need 12 months of watching clicks and things like, you know, online activity to be able to give you a final report that says, this is how you exist in a digital footprint in North Central Mass or in Massachusetts overall. I think that winds up defining kind of like performance-based. You're performance-based rather than just say, we don't know the answer. You know, you can go figure it out for us. We can define those things as those deliverables. Otherwise, I think it was a good shot to be able to kind of start defining what it is that we want.
We want to put escrow accounts in there.
I don't know if that's the actual correct term.
I know what you mean. It's got to be
You just use the generic word account. Or tracking. account,
Shared.
Or shared,
shared expense account.
whatever the appropriate term is, I just, you know, I don't need any other qualifiers other than the word account right now.
Payments will be
Account.
made out of an expense. account.
Segregated account. for the
Yeah.
Out of
purpose
a segregated, account
For this purpose.
for this purpose.
Shared is not a good word.
No,
Yeah, no, yes, and to me, I keep going shared and that cost sharing. thing, like, that's what- yeah,
well.
And I can help. You've done, you've done a lot of work with this. What I can do is, I mean, that's what I do. I'm in acquisition, so I can actually kind of translate this into contract deliverables and then what the MOA might look like. I'll take, you know, we do them with towns all the time, but ours would be corporate based, so I can put that together. So we can take a look at the MOA and we can take a look at what is the statement of work that's gonna go along with this.
Mhm. If you want to do that, that'd be great.
Sure.
I'll be happy to answer any questions and work with you on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna start with this. Do we have this electronically? Do we have that in Word?
Yep.
Okay. That'll be helpful when I start assembling stuff.
And, all right, I'm gonna put my IT deliverable hat on. Sure. As you have yours, I have mine. I love this. This is great. Because when I read this, it's like, okay, we need a strategic marketing plan. All right, well, what does that look like? What are the expectations? Because I don't know what a strategic marketing plan looks like for it in this environment. I know what it would look like in an IT environment, but I don't know what this one would look like. You have a lot more experience with this. You probably have a thought in your head as far as what you expect it to look like. And I was just gonna say, I need to be educated on what the expectations should be for this because like.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be educated if we go through the process as well.
Yeah.
But I think you have to, your first step is to identify your goals.
Okay.
And then backwards engineer from there.
Mhm.
Right, how do we get there? And where are we now? Right, with EDIC, we're at ground zero. So it needs most of everything. With the other entities, we're not there. They may need a little bit here and there, and to your point, they should only cover how they become a part of economic development. So I understand. And then what happens if you get a digital marketer in there and they give you a strategic plan?
Well, I guess
I'm
then,
sure I'll be surprised.
yeah, because then, and then anything that's not under the purview of EDIC, I would presume, I would presume this would fall under the select board? Or anything that's not EDIC related? I realize I'm harping on this, but it's like, it just, because
Well,
we are. separate
EDIC's
entities.
charter
Yeah.
allows us to do that. We're operating independently of that. The select board created, was it the select board's order? Yeah, the select board created this to be able to do X, Y, and Z. That's one of the bullets, is to be able to enter into partnerships. I'm saying it like I know it. I'd have to actually pull the language out to say the EDIC. I think I have it open, but
Yeah.
that's what we're supposed to
Yeah.
do. So if we were gonna go outside of that, then I would think that we'd have to go back and say, hey, we were looking to amend the EDIC's charter to include entering into partnerships with other town entities or something like that. So we should look at that. But I think it's this is a great approach to be able to working together and that we're not siloed and not looking to our left and right peripherals for who else has good ideas.
I think we need to be clear. Two points I want to raise about the corporate entity that we are. And I'm not 100% sure that we're there yet as a corporate entity, because we still need to do, when Karen Chapman was in here to talk to folks about creating the economic development plan for us as an entity that still has to go to the new DHCD. I can't remember their title now, their acronym.
Okay.
When they approve it, then we are officially a corporation. So I think we need to pursue, and I'm getting to another point that's related, but if you go to my handout, that's 4 pages, and you get this big pledge of allegiance to go on the top page. You turn it over, go to page 2. And there are, most of page 2 is about our budget. And if you drill down on page 2, you'll see item 5 and then 1A, 1B, 1C, and 1D. If you go down to 1D, it talks about a $45,000 legal marketing and advertising. Now, these numbers and these terms are out of the headers, if you will. Not out of are out of the contract that we have with EOHED, Executive Office of Housing and Development. So the 1D, 45,000 for legal marketing and advertising. So, you know, we have money for marketing and advertising for the 45. Draw your attention to the very top, 1A, $45,000 for market assessment. Now, market assessment and then advertising in marketing are not the same thing. But as far as, I'm going to be a boring budget bureaucrat for a minute and say, look, if we pick a number like 50, we have to pull it out of 1D. We can probably pull it out of 1A because they are related. But if we say 50 out of those two, out of 90, so you have 40 left for those.
Yeah.
So I just want to put it out there for all of our public discourse here that 2 things. I go back to where I started. So we still need to do the ED plan. I'm more comfortable about getting that done. And I need a lawyer. We need a lawyer. Okay.
I agree.
And that's also under 1D. We've got to advertise, but I think what we should do is, we're not going to meet till January. Mike, if you can help Steve with doing the metrics on this for the January meeting. And there's nothing wrong in the sentence you said, Steve, on the back of page 4 on your RFP about we deserve the right, we reserve the right to reject any and all, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing wrong with sending this out and testing the waters and see what people are charging to haunt the house, okay? Concurrently, we can look for an attorney. Concurrently, maybe we can have more forward momentum on getting the ED plan done, which is a 3 to 6 month thing, and then you got to give it to DHCD. So we're not giving anything to DHCD until the spring. But why not send this proposal out? See what the private market would budget for this. I would suggest something more like 30,000 just to whet their appetite. Okay. The other thing, the last thing I guess I want to say on this budget is that we can leverage these dollars, we can match these dollars against other grants, and that's one of the phrases I have in there later about taking this money. If we start spending it now, I'm not sure we can, because I don't know if we get a corporation, but we'll figure that out. But let's test the waters. Let's issue the RFP. Let's get enough. Let's learn, because we can always reissue it if we have to reject. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing that's you're not violating procurement for doing that. It's just, I just make sure we have all the ducks in a row. So, but going forward, I feel more comfortable with a 30 than a 50. And, you know, I'm not even going to say anything about voluntarily writing an ED plan, because it really should be done by a third-party entity. And if I had 60 days and I was doing nothing else and I was single, because otherwise I'd be divorced for saying this out loud. Or doesn't watch this, thank goodness. You know, we can get this done pretty quickly. So I think we can move on parallel fronts, is my point. I think also we can even put on an RFP for market assessment. Let's get numbers from people. Let's interview attorneys. Let's get numbers from attorneys and get resumes in.
Yeah, and
So I think if we
there's
can
no
put all of
great
this-
rush with this either, you know, so. We have to wait for something, we wait for
But
something.
the flip side of the coin is that, you know what, we all know we need to work with the community. We're gonna know better, after our market assessment's done, we're gonna know better about our product. Us as these invisible boundaries around the Templeton thing, we know that the shape file, what it looks like for the boundaries in this valley, right? We're gonna know about our workforce, we're gonna know about our real estate products and all the other socioeconomic things. But I think if we can push a lot of these forward on parallel, there might be 5 things we can push and have a lot better data in front of us to make some well-informed decisions like at the February, March. Meeting. Let's send this stuff out as soon as we can. Why not ask? I see no problem with sending these things out to start to feed us with information. That's it. I'm done. Speech over. Thanks, Liz.
I need a project plan. So steps.
A little
So,
spreadsheet with little breakdowns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
seriously, I need to know, step one, we need to go through, you said a lot of things there.
I
and-
did. It was a buckshot issue. I'm
And,
sorry.
and
Yes.
I'm struggling.
Fire hose and water.
Yes,
analogy,
I'm
maybe?
struggling.
Yes, yes.
Go on.
Which
So,
yeah.
one,
Do you want me to read it back to you?
if you got it, that'd be awesome.
Lenny can suggest 30,000 and to send the RFQ out for quotes while acquiring attorney and also getting quotes for our marketing assessment.
Right, so we need the marketing assessment, right? We need the quotes for this,
Attorney,
for
and the RFQ
Digital.
for
for the digital.
And the other
But-
note was we already have the quote to do an economic development plan, but that needs to be moved forward also. But we need the fifth member, which, so all these things are tied together. You know, we built the Noah's Ark. Now we just need to plug some holes and float.
Right, so the first, so we need the economic development plan, we need the quotes for the marketing plans, we need quotes for an attorney, and we need quotes for a digital marketing plan. Right, so that's 4 things that we need to do.
And maybe a few other things, but I don't want to overload us tonight. No. I mean, that's the gist. We can, I mean, basically, we're 11 members of the football team, and we just need to get them forward progress on a lot of fronts.
Yes,
You know, send the receivers out, they fake the handoff and throw it a short pass. Let's go. Sorry for the football analogy.
and then and some of the things that we're gonna need for the RFQ is a delivery schedule. Mike's working on that. And Mike-
Yeah, the metrics deliverables.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
yes. Great.
and metrics, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we need to see about getting an EDIC mailbox, right?
Mhm.
Which would then, so would that then the expectation that the mailbox would automatically forward to us 4 plus you 2? Or,
So the website currently has the 4 of you members listed, and if you click on your name, it goes to the email address you provided. Lori and I are not on the website, we're not. part of
But somebody from the outside world can click on those to get us an email
the 4 of you.
to our, whatever email list, like I did my Gmail account. Thank you.
I know that there's some secure, another layer of security since they were doing common mailboxes, so we'd have to ask Holly how they're doing it now, but it's doable.
so,
I think you want to be careful too, that if an email went to all of you and you all answered, there might be some open meeting law,
Yeah, we wouldn't want to do that.
we wouldn't want.
so how do we handle?
Well,
I'm
advisory
not sure,
does,
but have to ask.
advisory does it right now.
Do they?
They all answer. So
No, they don't all
Missing-
answer, but they all get the same, it's advisory at Templeton.
Oh, they all
MMA.
see it at the same time, because
Correct.
it's one email address.
Right.
Not 5 Gmail accounts to 5
That's
different human
correct,
beings. Okay. That's it.
We just can't respond.
Can we just do that? Can we just have one email address on us for all 4 of us, or 5 or 7, if there's all 3? And we all see it at the same time,
Why not?
and then just
We
say,
can't respond to each other, we can't.
Correct, I would say bring it forward.
It would be good to have one person man that and then.
Yeah.
Spread it out, so if.
Yeah.
Something comes in and it's for all of us, it's fine, and then we're not going on separately and crossing our purpose.
so if we designated a person, doesn't matter who, and at least a staff person, like if we had both had eyes on it, so to
Yeah.
speak.
How are we organized? Chair, vice, do we have a clerk? To the website.
Chair is Glenn, vice chair is Liz, and then Steve and Mike are members.
Okay. I was gonna say, if we had like a designated clerk, that's the person that would get the edict, right, and then forward as necessary.
Be that the person. Yes.
I'll talk with Holly and see what's possible.
Heather and we'll probably see one or two.
What's possible. Yeah,
Okay.
oh, and then we can come back at the next meeting and talk through the structure of it. And say, hey, that'll work for us, or that minimizes the risk of an OML complaint, or hit and reply all or whatever. Believe me, I mean, we probably all have experience with the dangers and pitfalls of reply all.
Yeah, well, so-
On. Never mind, it'll wait for comments. Sorry.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure it'll wait for comments.
Okay, so as far as items, so do we combine items 2 and 3 or no, logo is 3, right? So
Well,
we're
can
still
I
on
just,
2.
at the risk of
Go ahead.
beating this horse more and possibly throwing a monkey wrench into my own plans.
Mm.
Some other issues have come up and I would like to throw out an alternative
To
this.
the RFP
Yeah.
that we discussed, yes, sir. Go ahead.
Or maybe an adjunct to it. And I should start by saying that my department, the cable department and TCTV is looking to bring somebody on board full-time who is an excellent worker here and does a great job, and we can't quite afford it. Okay? And we may not get ARPA monies to do that. Other conversations have to be had for that. But I thought this morning, well, this person may end up taking other jobs. And we want to secure this person, young person, who has department head written all over her.
You want to capture the talent, sir?
Yes.
What was that?
Yes, and so maybe we shouldn't go out for this and should hire someone from within who can be trained to do this. And this person's already talking to other companies about doing similar work.
Okay.
So it's not a professional, experienced digital marketing firm, but that I would consider as a shared, I would ask for a shared position.
Okay, you're talking the word shared now, so we're talking about money out of EDIC budget. Another,
And cable department.
okay, I mean, if one outside of the cable
Find somebody to handle our digital marketing and,
to do this in this scope,
yes.
I'm with you.
And if we were to consider that under equal opportunity, we'd have to advertise, Yeah, we would have. to
Oh, yeah.
advertise
You
it.
definitely have to have, because you're talking about a new position, or it's a new role. Yeah. It is DEI all over it. There's no discrimination all
Yeah.
over it. There's-
So I'm looking for any way that's reasonable to keep this person on
So
board.
I'm gonna paraphrase. So whether we outsource it or keep it internal, you're still recommending we do this, but we have 2 possible avenues,
Mhm.
whether it's
And
outsourced or.
And it may be less expensive, or certainly will be less expensive to EDIC than 50. It'll probably be in the range of 20 to 30.
Per year.
Per year. And then
20 or 30.
our hope
That's-
is to
that's hard to
straighten out,
sustain.
our hope is to straighten out the cable department and TCTV funding within the next couple of years,
There is a
so
sustainable.
that we can sustain this.
Right, okay. Got it.
But I'm grasping at ways to retain a valuable employee.
Right, and I've got, and 2 sustainable revenue sources popped in my head as we're chatting about it, which you have to go and apply for them. Yeah.
So I'm just throwing it out there,
Yeah,
and I wish I had thought of it earlier, but just today, it's like, all right, well, what about this?
well, I don't think it's a monkey wrench, quite frankly. If it's a Thanksgiving feast, you just added another great piece of pie to the palate for something that you want. And I think it was, I'm glad you said it, because I never would have thought about it. I think there are funding, there is funding out there. Can you clarify something when you say ARPA money? What's that? I know what ARPA is, but is that the local money that Templeton got through state, local, fiscal? Okay, the SLFRF funds. Okay. Sorry, Jess, I don't remember what SLFR is. Please figure it out. State and local. FRF relief funds, but I remember the middle F, it's state and local F relief funds. We'll figure it out for the minutes. Excellent. Federal relief funds, state and local federal relief funds. Yes. If it's not, it is now. All right, we just created a federal act.
And just to say one more thing, if we were to do something, if we were to do this RFQ or RFP, whatever we call it, with another company, this would be the person I would rely on to coordinate the parts the TCTV watches a TV.
So this
This
person would be
person
involved in it.
knows the job better than anybody but me right now.
So let's not say person, even though you have somebody in mind that you need to work with, right? Let's say the job description, this would be in
Yes.
that job description. This
Yeah.
would be the function of that role that you want to make for part-time, or at least part-time, but it's 3/4 time or whatever, that's semantics, we'll figure it out. Okay.
So in which case we need a job description.
We need a job.
We would need a job description. We would need mention
Sustainable funding.
sustainable.
I mean, you know, you,
Yeah.
that's something you work on after you started tonight, you think, and you come back and you try to make it work. Multiple funding sources.
You said 30 a year? Is that full-time? Is that part-time?
Full-time TCTV would pay half.
Is the 30 the half
I think
of,
it's 35 with benefits.
okay, what's the total position cost, salary?
Total position cost, I would figure on 70 with benefits.
Okay, so the 35
If
is.
you're gonna
is
say
our cost share.
$40,000 position, requires 30,000 in benefits.
Got it. Yeah.
That's what I would go by. If you have different numbers and they lower, I would be happy to hear.
Oh, no, that's fine. I was just trying to figure out if you were hiring somebody at $17 an hour or 34, 35, maybe 35 to 70 grand a year. Yeah. So 35 grand for our share.
Mhm.
So 35 for Templeton share. Got it.
Mhm.
Sorry, too many numbers swinging through my head. Good. So where do we go from here? So we have a proposal, whether it's to outsource or to insource. How does the vendors want to proceed? Do you want to work on an RFP and get it up to see what the market, the private sector would do? Or just the person, or move forward on both fronts, getting back to my analogy about 10 minutes ago.
I would not let that RFP go as is. Right? I don't think it's got deliverables.
Oh, no, your point's well taken.
Yeah, yeah.
Improving this.
I would want to help.
Yes, but do we
refine
do
that.
it at all, or go to the personnel person, or do we move on both
No.
forward to get more?
I think what Steve is, he wanted to talk in another capacity about that, but it's very difficult when you're using one-time money to try and sustain positions. The
It's
ARPA
not-
money
it's
is
not
definitely,
advised.
is definitely doing that, but it was again, public safety, to do for cost share and otherwise, you could get really mired. And I just don't think it's sustainable. But if we're trying to do, what are we trying to do? Retain talent or get a product? So I think spending, I think the product that you get with the direction of this RFP furthers the goals of the EDIC. If they come back and they said, if you add, this comes back and they said, you really need somebody that's doing this all, on staff all the time, then we can consider that.
I think that's what we're gonna end up having to have,
So
honestly, is somebody.
to push the buttons, who's on the-
Well, to push the buttons, to do, if you look at other towns, municipalities, they actually have somebody that is either part-time or full-time, but this is what they do all the time, is EDIC. So I don't see this as unusual,
Mhm.
at least from the few that I've looked at. I don't have enough background to understand the ramifications of having, even, hiring a person to do this. I think eventually we are going to need somebody that can do these things. So, I would like to put forward a double plan, because, we've been talking about things for quite a few months now, and I'd really like to get us a step forward,
Get some stuff moving.
get some stuff moving, and this, I'm all for hiring local talent. I believe strongly in that. I believe strongly in being able to grow our talent. And I think long term, we will need somebody that handles these things
Mhm.
once we really get moving. So, I'd like to see both.
To my fellow bureaucrats, in the day job, comments to the right of me, the rule of municipal finance 101 is you don't use one-time revenue for repeating costs. Either way we go, whether it's outsourcing or insourcing, we don't have sustainable revenue for either. But it really, we as an entity need to identify, find sustainable revenue for our operations. So that we need to do that for everything we want to do, except for a one-time market assessment or one-time economic bonus thing. But when you talk about marketing year to year, yeah, you can sustain it. Mechanically, we could hire the talent, you know, it would be a W-2 from the town of Templeton to the person hired. We'd have an MOU to deliver the market services. If the EDIC approves of the MOU and the end of contract, that's generally what we have. So that's how you take care of the things. So Mike's gonna work with Steve, fleshing out deliverables, you know, keeping the back of our mind that we might go personnel on this, but this RFP won't be fleshed out until the January meeting. At least it gives us 6, 7, 8 weeks, whenever, so the next meeting, to think about the personnel idea, because we're not making a decision on that night, you just threw it up.
Yeah,
because you did, it just hit
and
you.
I
It's
don't
like,
expect
put
you to. I want you to
No,
take some time and think about it. In the
Yeah.
meantime, I can work up a job description. We can talk about it the next meeting.
but you're gonna have to do anyway.
Yeah.
Right, you need a job description to hire someone.
Absolutely.
Put it out there to follow all the laws, you know, I mean, we had AA, we had, affirmative action, and I think equal opportunity for me, now we have DEI, digital equity, diversity, something and inclusion, diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's like the new, instead of AA and EEO, now it's DEI, and in 10 years it'll be something else, but we have to comply with the laws.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's not an issue at all.
So I apologize with you all for taking up so much time with this, but you know, the alternative just came about in discussions today.
I think that was 45 minutes well spent. I mean, personally, I really think we got a lot out of that. So that was item number 2. Do you want to go into them?
Yes, I will go on gladly.
Well, I'm sorry, Liz, or Mike, anything else?
Okay.
Keep going.
Do we need any motions here? But.
If anybody wants to make a motion, anything, go ahead. It's your call.
Well, I mean, what Liz was talking about, pushing one of these balls down the field, use some football metaphors,
Yes,
right?
sir.
What was the one that we have on hold right now?
It's,
The economic development plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have that on hold. We have something ready to go. But we wanted to be able to say, hey, we got someone inbound and ready to go. I don't see that happening anytime soon. So if we want to move something, that's like the closest thing that we could touch to move forward.
Right.
I'd support a motion to go with that. And I don't know if we'd have to bring it back up again.
To go with what are you talking about? Which project?
You just said,
The ED plan?
correct.
But we need the 5th member to work on that, to approve of the quote from the entity I work for, so I have a conflict. I gotta remove myself from the table in the room. while
I
you
didn't
folks
realize
talking
that's
about that.
what was holding.
Yeah,
us
so
up.
the 5th
Okay.
member means you all can decide while I wait in the hallway.
Oh, okay.
So we're trying to move something forward. with
Yeah,
this.
sorry.
But this can move forward. We can consider the personnel issue in this. We can move the RFP forward to another draft phase at a certain dollar amount for January. If there's a 5th member that shows up in January, then the ED plan can be resolved.
Yeah,
And
that's-
there's a budget of 26 or 27 that can be moved forward, but that's gonna wait until we get that 5th member.
We
But
really gotta
then,
do that.
and we can decide tonight. Later, I talk about, you know, we need a lawyer. We'll go out to quote for that. I've got canned RFQs in my computer to be able to help there. So there are other things we could be working on.
To your point on motions, I'm definitely gonna go, I don't know if you want a motion or you need a motion for me to work on what he's already presented to us. I'll do that. And then, if Steve had some ideas about suggesting to the select board on the use of ARPA funds, I can talk to him offline to be able to see what his concerns were, or in my capacity on the select board to hear what TCTE has to say with respect to that. I would do them in different hands, but that's part of Steve's discussion to see how could the town, seeing that the EDIC is struggling with the direction forward, I would go just talk to Steve about what is possible.
right, so how about I make a motion that you talk to Steve about possibly an employee, if it's a, you know, move that forward about the possibility. Now,
I sit on as a representative of government, right? I just want to make sure
You're-
that I'm staying in the right lane when you make that motion.
Oh. Okay,
I think
That I
I'm
would-
actually the representative of government for some reason.
no, you're the contracting. We've
Okay.
got, I'm the member at large.
Then I would speak with the select board on to be able to talk with, I would bring it up to the select board to talk with Steve about that, to make sure that I'm staying in my. Okay,
Is that a second?
since it's for me, I'd let someone else second it.
I mean, the chair
I'm
can
not
second.
sure I
it.
should.
I'm the chair can second, I second the
Yep.
motion. So it's on the table in discussion with that.
And what was the motion?
Liz,
Motion is for Mike to talk with the select board about the possibility of TCTV making a ARPA request.
for the use of personnel for Mark. Is that?
Yes, for personnel.
Yeah, I just
Yes.
want to tie the task in.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's good, thanks, that specificity.
That's okay.
That specificity is good. And then I'll work on that. We don't meet again until early January, so I've got some time to be able to go through this. And I would need that.
Spend some time with the family. It's that time of year. Any discussion on the motion? You good? No? Good. All those in favor, I'll start from the left.
I believe I should abstain.
That's fine. We have an abstention, a yes,
Yes.
and yes. So 3 in favor, 1 abstention. All right. Okay, you want to do draft local updates?
Yes, I will, and I will show this on TV if everything works.
Sure.
So we had our favorite graphic designer, Caitlin, work on your EDIC logo, and we're just showing you 2 here tonight, but she took our little swoosh and tripled it for you, and I think it's very stylish and works pretty well. We got the moving community forward with community bolded, as you see, and the rest is pretty much how we designed it, and then we can do other fancy things as we want, like with the trees and the rocket ships or whatever.
Is that what we were calling them last time? Oh, sure. The
And
only suggestion I have is that on the bottom, economic development industrial CO period, CO.
Yeah, it
period
should
is
be
for
core.
abbreviation for company. So
Yeah.
that's all four.
I
Yeah.
noticed that today.
That's it.
And I like her treatment of the swooshes. And it looks a little less clip arty than the previous one, I think, so.
Thoughts from the members? I like it.
I love it, but let's just,
You ready to adopt?
I'm ready to
Ready to
adopt.
Meeting 3 or 4, I think there's a lot of work that's gone into it, Steve, and to your people, and nice. Does somebody want to make a motion to adopt what we see as the 2 logos for various use to promote EDIC in the future, something like that? Put in your own words, please.
I move that we adopt these 2 logos with the understanding that moving community forward, it could be moving whatever it is forward, that we adopt both of them.
Can we say as projected or as presented?
Now, as
Can we add that?
presented,
Is that
as
okay?
projected.
Second.
Motion's been made second. Any other discussion on the phone? Any discussion about? Great job.
Thank you.
Nicely done.
Caitlin did well.
Oh, Caitlin?
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you, Caitlin.
yeah.
She came back from her acting gig in Los Angeles to work with us,
You may have done,
because we're obviously cool. At least in the weather.
you may have done a cameo in the October 16th news program.
Yeah,
May or may not. I don't
he's an
know.
anchor.
Is she?
This week.
I do have a,
Can I take a vote on that first? Is that okay? Or do
it's
you have?
a question on
Oh,
this.
please, comment. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Colors have numbers, right? So like you would say, this is blue number 432. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's-
there
There's a color
are,
palette with
there's a
6-digit
color
numbers or
palette.
5 digits or something.
Is if Templeton's official logo had a color palette, whatever the color palette is of Templeton's official, the yellows look really close. Is
Want a
that, do
darker
you think
blue
it's,
then?
do you think it's the same?
It's not, but I don't mind,
I don't know if it's
I
that
don't
much of
mind
a,
more of a royal blue look that's in the EDIC logo than the banner and the seal almost look navy.
Royal blue or navy and yellow, it's very gold.
and I don't know how it would change it. I like what's on the screen. I just wondered if, you know, just part of the discussion to be able to say matching color palettes with, what the town already has. It might not even matter.
I don't, personally, I don't think it matters because you've got different color blues in there to get the triangles going across. And if we went to this blue here, we lose that
That feeling of momentum.
momentum.
That would be contrasting blues
I
and
understand.
triangles on it.
Well, it's blue and yellow, so, you know, close enough.
And
Color palette, but really not a.
Well, it's a
priority.
valid point, but you know, then is it close enough to really kind of go into the parent company for lack of a better?
Right.
Town of Templeton?
I'm happy
I
with
think
that.
it does. You're okay?
Mhm.
Any other comments? Though? No? Yes, other thoughts? Any other presentation issues or thoughts or comments on the great work done by, I'm good, one and all? I'll look for a vote then, in favor, opposed, or abstention.
Yes.
Yes, Liz?
Yes.
If you want to vote or
Yes.
abstain, you want us to vote yes, I'll vote yes, unanimous.
Did we get our first thing done?
Yes.
Thank you.
Nice, wicked cool.
We go to the
Um,
tattoo parlor on Monday.
There we go.
Caitlin also designs tattoos. Good at it.
It's always good to have an artist. external thing. Item 4 is, I basically asked Lori last week, just when we were talking about creating the agenda for tonight. And I said, Lori, send me the agenda for last time. It's basically the same agenda because there's so much going on in all of these. I didn't want to take anything off as the chair and lose something. So I just said, let's just keep it all the same. So having said that, under item 4, draft MOU for EDIC and town of Templeton for the 200 evening planning and related service information and action item if we need that. Something aside. So let me just run through these bullets on the bottom of page 1. So I printed a couple of memorandum of understanding or a couple of MOUs between the Boston Redevelopment Authority and other entities using an outline. So basically what I'm saying is I can create an MOU, that's no problem. I didn't do it in the last 60 days, shame on me, but when I realized that was my homework. So correct, I really need to get up on that. So I have a couple, I can create an MOU for the January meeting. And that's the second bullet. That's just the second bullet. And then at the appropriate time, send the draft to the town administrator for the second for consideration. Is the proposed path acceptable to members? I see if so, vote is requested by the chair. So we okay on that path? Like if I go, Glenn, you're directed to go away, come up with a draft. One MOU is ridiculously long. One MOU is about 13 pages. The first one's like 39 or 38 or something. So we don't need a lot, but I want to make sure we have indemnification, severability clause, you know, all that stuff you need in the boilerplate. And then, you know, kind of, this is your responsibility, this is ours, but I have no idea how many pages it will be, but it's more about quality than quantity of pieces of. So is any comments on my request to give me direction officially, take a vote? I prefer a vote that way, it's on record, and then Lori can remind me in 4 weeks, when did you do that? No, I'm shopping for my wife, I'll do it in a week. Thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? You want to give me some marching orders?
So I would move that, the chair use appropriate memorandum of understanding to be able to create an outline for an eventual MOU between the town of Templeton and the Templeton EDIC.
Is
For-
there, I'm sorry.
Yep.
So sorry.
You're good.
Okay. The wife would disagree. There's a second. Any discussion on the motion? Give me some marching orders. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Unanimous.
Yes.
in favor. Okay. The next item on page 2, we touched on this a little bit earlier about the budget scope of potential projects. I teased these out a little bit more. Under item sub 1, under item 5, the $200,000 sub 1A, I should say. So $45,000 for a market assessment. That's what we set up in the budget. The EDIC needs to understand Templeton's place in the market. What types of businesses should Templeton pursue based upon available properties, infrastructure, transportation network, workforce demographics, educational standard, as an example, needs of the business community. 1A1, a request for proposals would need to be drafted. Create a scope, for an RFP, we need a procurement schedule for the RFP, and then a procurement committee. It could be the EDIC, it could be a subcommittee, the EDIC. You could have PDIC with staff, however you want to do it. 1A sub 2, procurement activity will follow the state procurement statute and the federal. I just like calling them both just to make sure. Basically, in my day job world, we hire the standards, the more strict standards of the two, and state usually wins over the fed. The more strict. The B item talks about a feasibility study for 45 grand. The procurement task would be similar to the above. We'd have to do an RFP to do a feasibility study and hire a consultant to do this work. A feasibility study, AKA a business plan. I'm using feasibility study because in government and nonprofits, it's typically the term you use, but I prefer business plan, but that's what it is. What do we want to do when we grow up in a year, 5, 10 years from now? Have a game plan. So basically 1A and 1B are basically put some stuff out to bid and move these things forward. 1C is a very long-term project. This is not something we would do today. We may never do it. We may alter the plan. But C is industrial park site planning or business park site planning for 45 grand. If upon the completion of the market assessment and the feasibility study, the EDIC determines it's in the best interest of the town to pursue a creation of a park, then we prepare for civil engineer to identify a firm and identify one or more development sites and create site plans. Market assessment, feasibility study, and the site plan would be the three major components that the EDIC would need to pursue funding to construct a business or industrial park, i.e. complete land as acquisition, build out the infrastructure, and so forth. That's a very long term. What I'm saying here under item 1C is planting the seeds for something if we did land development, which many redevelopment authorities and EDICs do. I don't know if we're going to do that or not, but I'm just trying to build the blocks of the foundation before we build the house.
The business plan comes first, and then this would be the engineering
Yeah.
study.
Yeah,
The
1A,
study, the seed money for a
there you go.
implement. Okay.
Yeah, 1A and 1B can be done concurrently, but they have to be done before you do 1C, and then marketing you can do throughout. Liz?
Right, so what we had talked about last time, and based on this, it may be kind of premature anyways, was to look at what land there is in town. You know, because drove around at one point kind of going, oh, well, there's land here that's not, oh, but the water doesn't go all the way, you know, town water doesn't go all the way here. And it's things like that. So I can see, that waiting.
So officially, we could do that under this,
I see.
park thing, but the reality is that we would do some of that under market assessment. You'd actually take the map, take the zoning map. Ideally, you create a map that would have the lines on it for the infrastructure for the water, sewer, wastewater. Yeah, water, blue and brown water, gray water, if you will. And we could do that in January. We could start saying, well, what's the map look like? And then just get a sense for what's going on. Oh, no, I don't know how to interact with comments. So who do I go to? I go to Hannah and have her read them because I can't see way over there. Or does someone want to summarize? Oh, Aaron, thank you.
Bob May explaining the Templeton.
Oh, what is, and what does he say?
That's his expertise. So that was well received.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Yeah, he's talking about how we can match the colors. I think Bob did that for a couple of years.
Okay. Very
So
good.
what is he recommending?
He's basically just saying you can identify it by using this system to say that blue, this blue is going to have a number assigned to it. And that one's going to have it assigned to it. That would basically the discussion he's given us kind of the background.
We can get you the number for the.
Yeah.
EDIC fully released.
So thank you, Mr. May. That's wonderful. I'm sorry, I'm not used to these meetings and running these in Templeton, so I'm not familiar with the comments. And thank you. Throw that water bottle at me next time. Thank you very much, Jess. I appreciate that. Are there other comments on there? I can see a lot of white lines, but not the details and the pixels. I need new glasses. I know that.
All three comments go together.
All three comments go together. So there was, okay, so there wasn't three different people. It was all related to that theme. Thank you, Mr. May. Wonderful. Fantastic. The last, well, the second to the last, the 1D is the 45,000 that we set aside for legal marketing and advertising. We talked earlier about advertising and marketing. I'm suggesting that we We should have legal counsel. This is another very simple, under state procurement statute, you don't have to advertise for a lawyer, but there's nothing wrong with putting it out there and saying, you know, entities out there, lawyers, you know, would you please respond and give us your resume and your hourly rate? That's what we've done at MRPC. When we hired an attorney, when our attorney became a judge about 5 or 6 years ago, I had to go out and find a new attorney. So that's what we did. And we have a budget there. And then the last item is supplies. We have 20,000 supplies. So that's the budget. I just wanted to touch on some things. What I would, let's see, what did I say? It's feasible to obtain state or federal economic development planning funding to grow our budget in FY24 and or FY25 to complete more robust efforts and or do additional planning under before development or redevelopment. Chair recommends as we hold discussions with Mass Development, Mass Office of Business Development, and the Federal Economic Development Administration, and possibly additional government public agencies. What I would request tonight is that if there's a motion, I do a lot of writing with RFPs. I don't mind writing RFPs at all. We need an RFP for 1A. We need an RFP for 1B. And then 1D just needs a simple request for quotes, attach your resume, brochure if you have one from your law firm. I don't mind creating all those. I have plenty of time to do that by the January meeting. That's not a problem. But I'd like to see us, again, going back to our comments earlier, let's get some forward momentum and pushing this ball down the field. So but I'd appreciate if you would be willing to do a motion and vote on that. It gives me direction in minutes. And I go back and I get my homework that way. So that's what I'd like, is more direction on that. So give me a direction.
So, okay, I guess I'll make a motion that Glenn, if you would create an RFP for 1A, an RFP for 1B, and an RFQ for 1D.
And RFQ, I work not clear, request for quotes, not request for qualification.
Qualification, sorry.
Quote and qualification. I'll do RFQ/Q. There's a motion on the table to give me some homework assignments for 1A, 1B, and 1D. 1D for legal.
1D for legal,
Right.
yes, legal.
Right, 1A market assessment, 1B feasibility study, and 1D for the legal. Is there a second on the motion?
Yes,
Is there
second.
Any discussion on the motion?
Grant writing.
What about, please?
Um,
please continue.
So in here, you mentioned,
Oh, yes.
Chair recommends that EDIC pursue grant funding for the task.
Mhm.
There's, I think, a couple of different options for, I don't know how it works.
Mhm.
So again, I need to be educated. So we have a grant writer here in town at this point,
Mhm.
and you have a grant writer. I don't know if either or both are available to us or not. So,
It would be, to answer your question, I'm gonna ask a question, sorry, that, you know, can we meet? I'm moving over to our board of selectmen member. Is it feasible that the EDIC could discuss the possibility of getting grant writing services from the town of Templeton's employee or consultant / grant writer? Or is that to be determined between you and your fellow members of the board of selectmen? Or could you research that and get back to us?
Yeah,
I'm trying to get back to
Yeah.
your question. Is that fair?
Mhm.
Okay, so we won't answer it tonight, we won't be able
Yeah.
to, but we can try to figure that out. Okay. So I don't, you know, and the last point about the grants is, you know, if we could just administratively try to set up some meetings where people bluntly from these agencies and others could zoom into our meetings, these professionals in these fields. You know, Mass Development has very specific grants for real estate development. MLBD doesn't have grants. But to meet with them would be good to put our entity on their radar screen, explain, we're here and we want to market the town and sites. Oh, we haven't heard from you. Great, then we would move that conversation, but they don't write checks. And the federal EDA, in my day job, we have contracts with another person, that she could explain to all of us how the federal EDA grants work.
Mhm.
For us to pursue if we do or not, and they have good grant programs for entities just like us and regional planning agencies and others. So that's kind of a separate issue.
answer good things.
Grants are good things. Yes, so the motion on the floor is to give me directions on 1A, 1B, and 1D for legal.
Yep.
Write some documents and get them back by the January meeting to be determined.
Yes.
Any other discussion on the motion? All set?
Nope.
You don't want to move forward?
No,
I'm just teasing. Would you like to vote on the motion? Young man?
Yes,
Yes, yes. And would you vote yes or no? He said yes. Liz?
Yes.
Yes, Steve?
Yes.
The chair will make that unanimous. So, okay, moving right along to marketing, what did I have? So a task can be implemented, and when will they be implemented? Give us some small marketing tasks. When can we prepare for engagement marketing? I think we covered that for the first 45 minutes under item number 1. I don't need to rehash anything there unless anybody has any other ideas on what we, oh, there was one thing I did want to say. So I think it was our first meeting, and like you said, why don't we have a sign? There should be a simple sign at the entrance to every main road in town that says, you've arrived, or like the MASH sign, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I never forgot the signage conversation that we had about just doing something simple, like, welcome to Templeton. EDIC, whatever it is,
Yeah.
I'm not writing it down, it's not in stone, I'm not carving it in slate or anything. I liked that idea. Should we do something like that, or should we just put it in our brain box to talk about it more in January? Or something else that's simple, we have 20,000 for supplies, we can quote the job to a sign company, whatever. There'd be permitting involved, I know that, not up on the local permitting for how you get a sign in a public way and so on, so I would defer to my
Yeah.
municipal colleagues here. I liked the idea. If there's something else, great. We always have to market ourselves, so if other people have other ideas and stuff, you know, we should talk about it.
Yeah.
It shows, even if there's no one new business account, if there's no one new job added yet, if we put ourselves on the map in a small way, which I think is a part of what you were saying 6 months ago, oh, we can drop it. I'm not pushing it. I'm not saying no or yes.
Irving has a sign.
Irving does. Welcome to Irving.
Yeah.
They plot a lot
Nice
of money.
place to visit.
Yep, that's what the sign says. And they have a couple of
That's a nice
establishments
sign.
on the main street.
Nice
They-
location.
They did the street lights up and, you know, they have a nice little Main Street America kind of downtown. It's kind of cool with the, well, there was a restaurant place, there was a flex place, and there was something else, you know, kind of touristy. It was nice. I don't know what's there now. Been a long time.
Yeah, like Hubbardston's got a nice digital sign as well. It's very, I mean, it's pretty easy to get max eyeballs on their sign because it's right on 68. But where we would have a little bit, a more, you know, static signs might be a little bit more effective.
Sure.
Coming in different thoroughfares into the town, but I mean, I really like the idea of it. When it's, you know, paid for or, you know, sponsored by EDIC.
Someone of you had the idea, maybe it was Liz, I don't remember, about if we had a sign that was welcome to Templeton at the bottom of EDIC.
Yeah.
Then you could actually have some business names on there, like a directory when going into a public
Yeah.
building is a directory of businesses or something like that. So, I mean, we could take 6 months of 2 hours of meeting for 6 meeting months in a row.
Yeah, a mash,
Working it
a
out.
mash sign.
Which has, signage has come up in other entities, bodies, municipalities within this.
In our community.
In our community
Yeah,
about
yeah.
the fact that we need some sort of signage
Okay,
about local businesses. And,
this is helpful.
and it is, trying to remember who on the select board was assigned to kind of come up with some of those ideas. It's escaping me as to who was assigned to the signs.
Me, I wrote the bylaw.
Oh,
Yep.
okay,
Oh, there he is.
there he is.
Come to fall town meeting.
Yeah.
Vote on the sign bylaw.
Very good.
So, I think we should revisit it. I think it's a good idea. If
I think it's a great
anything,
idea.
to bring, you know, we do have a lot of small mom and pop businesses in town, right? And anything we can do to help them. And I'm gonna get on my soapbox here. So we're not scattered with all these little signs all over the place that kind of clutters everything up. Something much more formalized, something much more.
Directional, clean.
Right.
Methodical,
Yes.
organized, in place.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna be careful and say we have marketing on there, and I threw signs under marketing. Could we add signage? Potentially. Welcome to Templeton signage, EDIC on the next agenda for January, please. Young ladies. And if we could, you know, we can have more of a robust conversation then about signs.
Yeah.
Do what we wanna do.
Another
Yes.
comment from Bob May.
What's that saying?
Keep town property sign free.
What does it say again? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Town property sign free.
Keep town property sign free. Okay.
Yeah.
Valid point. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, I mean, there are other ways of doing, working with it. There's some towns and cities have, for the veterans,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they have up on the telephone poles, you know, the little
Oh,
signs.
yes, yes,
you know.
I see a lot in Leominster and other
So-
towns just about to mention that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
sorry.
No,
Jumped in front of you.
Yeah.
Which,
Got it.
which would keep them off of town property as such.
Right,
But would still be able to,
Mhm.
you know, that they go up, you know, as whatever businesses want to advertise in town or however we end up, assuming we go forward with it, however we end up, putting it together.
Right.
You know, that way there's plenty of room for everybody and we don't end up with this,
the mash, sorry.
the mash monstrosity
The mash
because,
matchup.
because there's more businesses in town than would
Right.
fit on a 6-foot pole.
And that's a good way to promote grassroots, small businesses in town.
Oh, yes.
So you buy a pennant on a light post on Route 2A, on Patriots Road or Baldwin Hill Road or wherever we want to put them. You know, drive through Hubbardston has them, Westminster has them.
I mean, for me, I learned that thanks to a great offer to my rate, there's a sign by law in town giving warrants for them for the special town meeting. So I'll go online and read that and it'll help me understand what's proposed. I'll watch the town meeting and see if it gets adopted. And then for me, I'll read it and say, okay, well, we gotta work within these parameters, right? These rules. Should it pass at the town meeting? And then, I mean, you could have a whole 13-person committee just to deal with this issue. So I'm not proposing anything too complicated, but if so, let's put it on a January agenda. We'll come back to it and bring your ideas, I guess, right? Bring those, but the sign brain boxes and have a nice discussion.
Also,
Sure,
question,
yes.
so there
Question,
used to be a big sign for Country Mischief down on the Baldwinville exit, but by the Baldwinville exit.
Off of Route 2?
Off of Route
Off of
2.
Route 2 is on
Right.
some private land there.
Hey,
Yes.
oh, okay, so that was gonna be my question, do we know how it got there? And whether or not,
Oh, it's been there for 30 or 40 years. My guess
Well-
is one of the parties called a friend and took over land and walked it out.
Yeah. well, no, I'm
I
just
don't
saying
know.
that something like, even something like that, just.
Like the chair cities, the furniture out in
Yes,
capital,
yeah.
the world,
Located
On
at the
Route
East Gardner
2.
Industrial Park.
yeah,
on the
where the
land.
bus,
Yeah.
they keep the buses.
Where they
is
keep the
what-
buses. Yeah.
I get what you're saying,
But
Yeah.
the Gardner Redevelopment Authority owns the property. and
Yeah.
Put it on their own property.
right?
So I'm just putting it out there that, hey, we've got that kind of sign there, somebody has that kind of sign there.
Right,
But-
right.
Definitely something to-
And then Mass Dot has regulations for what can be viewed. For instance, I learned fairly recently that that particular center TRA cannot be converted to digital because it's close to the Mass Dot right of way and you can't have a digital sign. So you look at Mass, if you're close to the Mass Dot right of ways, 2A and 2, and you don't have to worry about those regulations in addition to local regulations. So it's on the January agenda. We'll come back to it and have, it's already, obviously it's an exciting topic, so. Having moved on, oh, I skipped over 6 because I forgot it. 6 is seeking candidates for open slots on the EDIC. So basically, we're having the same conversation all the time, and I'm gonna say I don't know what to do other than, although I was gonna say in the old days, we've taken that out in the Gardner News, but I saw the Gardner News website recently, and I learned a lot about the Ukraine war and other things, and I didn't see anything about Gardner or the communities on the homepage. So I don't know what vehicle to use to get the message out, and Lori's gonna hand up. I'd love
Well-
to hear from you.
Sort of. I think we've exhausted the fact that we haven't had any residents. You have been kind of waiting, hoping that you'd have volunteers that were actually residents in town. As a corporation, you have the right to go outside now.
Yes, we do.
I think you've done your due diligence and we have to look elsewhere, which just not.
Right.
Yeah,
So if we need somebody in the real estate industry or the financial industry.
Right.
As long as they're doing business in the community, they might, their home address might be. And thank you for raising that, because I meant to say that, I didn't. What got me off on the, we need an attorney conversation earlier was, a few weeks ago, I was with a reenactment colleague of mine who happened to be an attorney. So being a good government bureaucrat, I picked his brain for a little while. And he provides services to a redevelopment area. I said, by the way, I don't see anything in the enabling statute for EDICs about how people have to be from the community. They said, well, if the law is silent on it, you can get people from it. So thank you for, I forgot all about it. I meant to say it tonight. But having said that, then how do we get the message out? Nobody's gonna read our website and say, oh, I'm gonna volunteer. I'm looking for,
I think if you have referrals, if you have somebody in mind, they're more than happy to come up with a letter that we can ask for interest.
we're looking for private sector people to serve on a local board. And private sector people are normally members of chambers of commerce. So one vehicle, we have the North Garden Chamber of Commerce and the Greater Garden Chamber of Commerce in our area. There's the North Central Chamber of Commerce in Leominster, and there's the Shelby Chamber in Shirley. If we wrote a simple letter to each CEO that said, if you get people in these industries, who might do business in this community, who might want to serve something. I don't have all the words yet. I would look to the wordsmiths around me, both sides, and say, if we can contribute to something to push the word out to say, we have 4, we need 3, these are the job descriptions. I think it's real estate and finance and something else that we recall. There's another at large, thank you. And I don't know if I use the terms correctly for finance. I know really.
GCTV might be able to help you push out to some of that on social media.
Thank you. Thank you. I didn't want to volunteer you, but you volunteered yourself. So that's a great point. Somebody might be seeing that, somebody who does a lot of work in town, but their office might be in Pittsburgh.
But I don't know if we can make enough hazard mitigation video about it.
So I tell you, that's my favorite video. And I love seeing Aaron's other side. So having said that,
We'll help you out.
Does it have to be chambers of commerce or could it
No.
be like a local
I threw it out there.
real
Be a Rotary
realtor?
Club. You could
Local
be the Lions
realtors.
Club. I mean, anybody who's willing to read a letter, honestly, who's knows somebody who's in business or knows somebody who's in business. This can be an open letter on our page on our website. That letter can be used to go up to just about anybody we think is appropriate.
If somebody writes a letter, we'll push it out.
Okay,
And have the remote version of it.
we have a volunteer to write the letter. So as far as I'm concerned, if you write the letter, I'm gonna trust the content. I don't need to wait to see it in January and wait and lose 2 months.
And
then-
we can use our new logo.
Yes, yes.
You have to get that to me so I can put it in the letterhead. I was thinking the chambers of commerce that you listed out, how many were there? 4.
for them.
And then any realtors that we have in town, if that's what we're trying to look for. I know there's one in the old general store building, that's at least the first one I thought of. Any others that are based here in Templeton?
If we're looking.
It's a form letter, so all we have to do is just change the address out, and a 1-pager, that's too easy, especially since a lot of these Chamber of Commerce or realtors, they're gonna have a website where you can get an email, so you don't even have to worry about, you can just email it to them.
Yeah, the North Central Mass Realtors Association, they're based in Pittsburgh on Summer Street, is an entity that we could send a letter to. Some people, realtors themselves, and honestly, bank presidents, CEOs. I mean, I can carry the letter to the Alpha Credit.
It won't take that long. I mean, we've got the order, what's the purpose? We're inviting people to you use the word apply? Volunteer.
To volunteer.
Okay.
To consider volunteering to advance economic development in the town of Templeton.
I'll put it together.
We would appreciate it if you have a business presence or do work in the community, even if you don't live here.
Okay.
That kind of couching it that
Yeah.
way.
The banks and the credit unions, I think, is another really.
Yeah,
really good.
because I think we're looking for somebody,
Yeah.
I think, in finance and real estate and at large. I'm happy to be corrected now in the future.
No, I believe that's what, in previous conversations, you said that depending on who you can get to volunteer, things can shift.
Yeah.
Depending on.
I don't think so. I thought they were looking for a low mod.
Oh.
So,
You're looking
so
for a
there's
low
a,
mod rep.
there's a,
why you're
that's why we're
housing.
trying to get the housing authority. So there's low mod representative. A person of low mod or a person representing low mod in that
Right.
households. Yes, that's correct. And then the other,
And
that
that's
could be
where
at
that
larger. mod.
financial
Right.
dialogue conversation.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And then I can fill any one of 3 roles, which just
Right.
depends on what our skills are here.
Right.
Fill with the people that apply. It'd be really nice to have 3 to 4 people interested by January, so. Wow, we have one more than we need.
So is there a target? Did we just change the target?
The target comes out of the statute and what roles we fill. and what's
Oh,
left over.
yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
but like, so we were going in a direction of chambers of commerce and realtors. Low economic. people.
Well,
So
you
one
wanted to-
slot is Lomont.
We were originally trying to go for the Templeton, Washington Housing Authority Director, but
I think there's too many conflicts for him to be able to.
Because he would fill the slot of Lomont
it's not a
representation.
Vermont representative,
Okay,
low moderate housing.
But business, I guess business people,
but real estate we don't have. Let's go after that.
there you go.
I think that the target or the audience that we just kind of talked through. I think there's gonna be someone taking it, whether it's someone in a chamber of commerce who is a realtor. Or
Everything
a
else.
local realtor office, you know. Who would love to be invited in like that for a volunteer purpose. I'll put it together. I'd like to keep it non-form letter sounding, but you know, it'll all be the same letter, but at least every letter will be addressed to the people that we're sending it to. So they're like, oh, it's to me, not just congratulations. This is Publishers Clearinghouse. You won.
So well said. Okay. Time out for quick program though. Last couple of meetings we've run up against it. I think we've done with that.
We're last tonight.
I'm sorry, I meant to ask this 90 minutes ago. I apologize.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're okay?
Mhm.
All right, thank you.
As long as you don't go over 10 o'clock.
I'm looking
no,
at
no,
7:45 personally. I don't know about the rest of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Liz, that land is private, by the way. It's in a trust,
Oh, okay.
but that's what the sign is on private.
I was just thinking something like that, or.
Oh, I know.
No, it's great visibility. No, it's understandable. It's been a protected stance. All right, moving on to, I didn't need to spend a lot of time on permitting. It was just on the agenda from last time. I just fleshed it out. I fleshed out some of the narrative I had last time from the point of view of business, maybe the private sector defines business friendliness as predictable operating procedures and related tasks if they're on a timely basis. So I just wanted to kind of document what I said last time. There are some related issues. As we all move forward, related issues, business uses allowed in Templeton by right versus by special permit. And then identifying area development sites so we can use 43D special expedited permitting. And then we talked last time about discussing the local permitting, with local permitting Thursday, and local permitting from their point of view. And they can see our point of view about, you know, I think we all want economic development, but how do we work with you through your permitting procedures? Because I have seen in the past where entities that promote economic development of community sometimes are at odds with the local permitting entities. And the redevelopment source will say, you know, what's the problem with you permitting entity over here? It's like, well, we have a job to do. We have wetlands protection. We have zoning, we have this, we have that. And then we say, well, yeah, but if all that stuff under business was by right versus by special permit, would have economic. So I'm just looking for a positive discourse and I think you said they're all interested in, you know, going. But I think if we can move toward a meeting in the winter with permitting authorities to say, tell us what, just tell us, you know, at least one member from Concom, one member from planning board, a member from Board of Health, or if you want to represent them, or have them in November, and just say, look, I think we all want the same thing. We want jobs, but we want permitting them properly and appropriately. But I know in my heart that the vast majority of communities in Massachusetts that have SP for special permit in front of a use for business use are the towns that developers jump over and they go to the next town when they see that business use is allowed by right. It's just that simple. And I just think, we all want some honest conversation. Is this something we can do? You know, to make things a little more predictable for instance. That's all I really wanted to say, but it wasn't meant to be a long conversation. And then we're really up to the next meeting to bring agreement, so. If nobody wants anything number 8, so.
What would be the next discussion with number 8?
With number 8
Be
would be.
sitting with planning board or ZBA?
CBA planning, Concom, Board of Health.
No, like, at least like, let's say one member of each, or if they all want to come and have a joint board meeting, I don't care either way. As long as we have the discourse about, you know, business friendliness is defined as this. But let's face it, in Massachusetts, if you're gonna do a 5 or 50 unit subdivision of homes or businesses, it's 2 years to go through the pinball effect of multiple permit boards. Or look look, folks, we've got the map with all the blue and water pipes and the electrical and stuff. We know that these areas are really hot for economic development for the future. Do you mind permitting boards if we create these as, what is it called? Priority development sites, so we can create a super permitting board and that you're all represented, so we can get some permitting done. And an expedited process under the state statute 43D. Are we all on board with something like that? And if they're not on board, then at least we know. And I have no idea how these people feel about that, because I'm not asking. And I don't have time to talk to them individually, and I don't have time to go to their meetings, but. Or maybe we're gonna go to their meetings and ask them, and I'm willing to go to their meetings.
We'll write a letter
Whatever works.
advocating, have them. A letter can start at least the conversation to say, this is a consideration that the EDIC thinks might actually improve decision-making, business friendliness, that kind of thing. So I've got 4 stars next to some action items on my list, so I'm not taking that on, but I think we could develop a list that talks about the rights, or the merits in, let me make sure I get this right, in having zoning reflecting by right versus special permit, and what any implications might be.
It's the by right versus special permit is one issue. That to me, that's number 2. Number 1 is identifying priority development sites. And then doing the super permitting board of the master.
Yeah.
To do the expedited permitting
And that
process.
nests beautifully with 5.1C,
Okay. Under
industrial
site
site planning.
Right, right. If we all agreed, we to define the read of that's the site that we want to have a 100-acre business park. 40 acres is wetland, you can't touch it, there's a buffer, that's 10, if you only have 50 or 50 left, you're gonna minus another 10 for the infrastructure, get 40 left. Okay, 40, 5-acre parcels, 8 parcels, 8 industrial condos or whatever. That's the kind of honestly sketch I'd like to draw and say, if we all work together, we can get there. I've been hearing since I was a little kid, everybody in this town wants economic development, but I think we just need to talk to each other to figure out.
Now we're talking strategery,
Strategic, yes,
so that's good.
yes. Yes, if you can make strategic rhyme with EDIC someday, I applaud you. That would be awesome. Anything else on 8?
Just that we'll be sure to, when you're ready to invite the boards, make sure that they get posted. In case there is a forum from any of the boards. Board meeting that will be ready.
I rattle off a lot, and I want to be cognizant of, are there any other comments? Aaron or any other? No, we're good. Thank you. All set on 8, anything else?
Nothing on 8, but I do have a request before you get to adjournment. So.
That's fine. Can we talk about the schedule in the
Yes.
9 and then
Yes.
talk about your stuff? And if we can talk about it, great. If not, we'll put it on agenda or a little bit of both, like we did the signs. Okay. We'll make sure we comply.
Yes, I do.
So nobody wants to meet on New Year's. What's the deal?
January 8th is open.
Okay.
Next Monday. However, I do have a question for Development Services. Are you gonna need to reschedule conservation on the 15th for MLK Day?
Yep.
What are your thoughts?
If you take 8, I'll take 22.
Back to the football analogy. Thank you, Laurie.
Cause yeah, it would be the 15th, but that's okay.
I have a conflicting board meeting on the 15th. So the 15th, so the
15th is MLK Day
so that's out.
for everybody.
Okay, and the 1st is out, so the 8th is a possibility. What about the 22nd? and 29th?
She was saying
Well,
she was gonna take.
Concom is the 3rd Monday of every month, but that's MLK Day. So I would take the 8th or the 22nd, but I just said to Steve if he takes the 8th.
The schedule shows Board of Health on the 22nd.
It's 7. That would help. Would that help you?
The 29th is open. Unless you want to juggle.
Well, if we did like 5,
Can we take the 8?
Want to settle on that?
We just settle on the 8? The 8th is Monday.
8th is wide open.
Are we having a more complicated discussion if we just all take the 8th? If we go beyond the 8th, we just set the 8th?
If you take another Monday, you should go probably at 5. You take 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock on the 8th?
On the 22nd.
No, I can. far enough in
Right.
advance, I can make 5 o'clock work, but it sounds like the 8th is open.
And if you go with the 8th, you have no restrictions on the time.
I would like
So
the 8th.
we won't be doing,
You might not want to do that with my mouth, though. So, the reality is that, well, we're just going to
The 8th.
all right, we got a consensus.
Can I move that we make the next meeting the 8th?
Yes, please,
Second.
and there's a motion and a second, and I doubt there's gonna be much discussion, but is there any? No, Steve, how you vote?
Yes.
Is,
Yes,
Yes.
yes, and Chair makes it yes. So six
Five
P
or
M
so,
on,
6, okay.
6 p.m. on the 8th, like we've been doing, 6 p.m.
yes,
Okay. Liz, you had something before we went
Yes.
to adjournment?
right.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Please, ma'am.
looking through the town bylaws and everything, we have to have an FY 23 fiscal year report that has to be in by January 31st. This is another reason I was looking for the 8th. So
Can you say that date again when that's due, please? I'm sorry. You just
By-
said it.
by January 31st,
31st, our annual report's due.
our annual report is due no later than.
Thank you.
So, me not wanting to do things at the last minute.
Agreed.
Um. And I don't know what the process is for actually writing so. Can you can you
I can.
educate me, please?
so an annual report can be very diverse. Every department writes them differently. What you want to include is you want to include your achievements for the fiscal year. Things that are important, who's on the board, what do they do, how did it get there? And EDIC is an up and down thing because it was established quite some time ago and it couldn't get a single one of the people that were, it was difficult. So there is some backstory.
Can I cut to the chase? I'm going to write the annual report, because unfortunately, I write so many, I'm happy to do it, but I'm not happy, but I'll do it. No, I'm happy to do it. I would take my laptop and meet with you on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'll just come in here, and if you guys can open the physical and the electronic documents, like the copy and paste, like some of this stuff, and hit highlights and draft it, and just get it done. Let me promise to getting a draft done like the 10 day before Christmas, now, like the 15th of December. And that way I can get it in here for the January 8th meeting, and then you can put eyes on it. If I can get it done by December 15th, through Lori, she can distribute for your eyes for the meeting of the year. And then edit to your heart's content from the 16th to the 7th or something. You know, Glenn, you missed a comment, or you missed a whole photo, you did all that stuff.
Mhm.
Deal?
Yes,
So you should have 2 weeks of review time. So, all right, so I'll do a draft annual report by 12/15, give or take a couple days. I'm trying to choose like that Thursday of that week, whatever it is. Draft. 12/16. Email to other members through Lori. So we can look at it on the 8th. To get it submitted by the 9th or 10th or something like that.
Yep.
Which would be around the.
well, in advance of the 31st.
Yeah, so. And that really encapsulates everything we've been talking about. We've got to pull it together. And it's an annual report, which goes fiscal
Fiscal
year,
year.
the last fiscal. So it's only gonna be like 1 or 2 meetings, but I can do a backstory because I'm involved with the backstory. And it won't be a big backstory because I don't remember everything we did. I'm not gonna talk about every meeting we've had for 5 years on this. It's one report. What did we do that year? But, opening paragraph for. Somebody to look into some minutes of the old days, the selectmen to say, oh yeah, this pony ride started in 15 or whatever it is. Something like that. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up.
Just want to make sure we
I'm
get it.
so glad you did that because it wasn't on my radar screen. Perfect. All right, anything else that's on the agenda we can chat about? That's relevant to the material we talked about tonight, because that coalesces into the annual report. Then I'd look for a motion to adjourn around 7:38 or 39 or something like that. Is there a motion to do so? I got a symbol down here and I got a second down here. Any discussion, motion to adjourn, all those in favor signify by saying aye or yes, or raise your hand.
Aye.
We